Hey, it's Puzzle Matt here, back with another episode of A Puzzled World. Today we're going to be talking about how to not make idioms make you out to be an idiot. First, you have to know what an idiom is. It may not help out at first, but it'll really help you later on once you know exactly what an idiom is. Okay. Unfortunately, the idioms do not have like or as, which is something that would help you figure out if you should take it literally or not. Remember, as and like make all the difference. For example, he's as hungry as a bear. The word as is a clue that it is something being compared rather than a idiom. But if you look at this sentence, it says he's a hungry bear. There's no as to help us determine if it's a bear or a man being talked about. Idioms are used all over the world. However, it depends on where it is and what specific area is using it. That depends on its meaning. Over time, the origin of the idiom might be forgotten. However, they still might be used, like scraping the bottom of the barrel, for instance. Even though we don't use barrels anymore to store things usually, we still say scraping the bottom of the barrel. When I was little, I always had trouble with idioms, and my mom always likes to tell this story about when I took an idiom way too literally.
Idioms are hard, and there's been a couple of times where they tripped Matthew up pretty bad. I can remember this one time we were all in the living room watching a movie, and he was little, playing with his trains on the floor. And in the movie, one of the characters said, "I just don't think he's ready to come out of the closet yet." And Matthew just shot up and said, "That is not true." And you know, as a parent, you're like, this is an adult subject. Proceed with caution. And so I was like, don't give too much away. Just ask him what he means. I was like, Matthew, what do you mean by that? And he was like, it's not true. I was like, okay. What do you mean it's not true? And he's like, Mom, nobody wants to stay in the closet. And I was like, oh, he does know what this adult subject is. And I was like, proceed with caution, proceed with caution. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, Mom, it is dark in a closet and you can't see the TV. So I had to bite my tongue. I mean, literally, I was like, not to start laughing, because I realized, thank goodness, I was not going to have an adult conversation when he was little and not ready. And two, it was just funny that he took it so literally. And so I said, Matthew, you're right. Nobody wants to stay in the closet. I said, but that's just a figure of speech. It doesn't really mean someone's in a closet. He's like, I knew it. He said, I knew I was right. Nobody would want to stay somewhere where they couldn't see the TV. And I was like, that's right. You got to see the TV. So I dodged a bullet on that conversation. And also, once again, it put a spotlight that Matthew is a very literal thinker. And I think that's when I started thinking about putting him in pragmatic speech therapy, just so if he said stuff like that at school or out, people wouldn't make fun of him.
Pragmatic language therapy taught me some tips on how to handle idioms. If it sounds magical or mythical, it might be an idiom. Example, speak of the devil. If it doesn't make sense, it might be an idiom. For example, pushing up daisies. If you've never seen it before, it might be an idiom. For example, you put your foot in your mouth. If it describes animals or nature, it might be an idiom. For example, eager beaver. This is the most important one. If you just don't know anything about it, just say nothing and look it up later. Hope this helped you figure out what an idiom is and how to identify them. Now that we have figured out what idioms are and how to find them, we will now continue the series and teach you about different idioms and what they mean. Make sure you remember the tips of how not to make idioms make you look like an idiot. And this was Puzzle Matt, and I'll see you next time.